So, in Japan, like Australia, we like to abbreviate words, and I got some examples for you guys. The most, I guess, familiar one is anime, which is animation. Like, that's literally the abbreviated word. Another one is Pokemon, which is pocket monsters. Like, do you guys know that the original name for Pokemon was Pocket the Monster? Pocket monsters. But I think the abbreviated word started to take over to the point where everybody thinks it's Pokemon. Pokemon. Hey, it's Emily. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please smash the like buttons. Hi everybody from TikTok. Please comment down below if you found me through the link in the bio. Let's get on to today's video. Before we get started, can you guys guess which MacBook this is? Like, it is pretty big. It's quite heavy. It's the MacBook Pro mid 2012. Like, it is 8 years old. It's still running, except I have to have it plugged in, otherwise the battery dies in 2 seconds. Like, I don't know if you guys could hear the fan. As soon as I start using iMovie or anything, it starts to die. The battery, it just does not last. But the picture quality is so good. I'll compare it to my laptop, my work laptop. Let's see. This is my Zeus, which is 3 years old, that I use for work. And this is my MacBook Pro. So you can see I don't know if you guys could see it properly, but the Zeus one is a bit more glary and the brightness is much lower when you see it in person. I intentionally chose a brighter picture just so you could actually see. But my MacBook Pro, being a Retina display, it just smashes over this one any day. Even the performance is so much faster on this one, but I did spend around just under $2,000 8 years ago on this bad boy, and it was worth it. I cannot stress how important it is to invest in a good laptop or PC, because if you buy a high quality one and take care of it, it lasts you 8 years. Like the laptop before my Apple, I had a Dell computer that I sourced from Japan, thanks to my uncle, and that one, I think I had it since 2007 or 8. So that lasted me around 4 or 5 years. Now, they say you should change your laptop every 3 to 4 years, apparently. But I guess that is more applicable to something like a Windows base where they do upgrade consistently. For Apple, I've noticed, especially the last few years, the upgrade has been quite, I guess it hasn't been as significant as what it used to be. But with the new M1 chip happening and me doing intense amount of research for the last few days since release, it seems to have jumped in quality. Like, even with the 2020 model, it has been a significant improvement to the point where I don't think I need a Pro. I think I'm going to be good with like a 256 gigabyte M1 MacBook Air. I had a look at an iPad, the Samsung S7 and S7 Plus tablet, the iPad Pro, the MacBook Pro, the Mac Mini, and the MacBook Air. My personal opinion, out of all of them, first and foremost, MacBook Pro is probably going to be too powerful to justify the price. For me anyway, I wouldn't use all the amazing technology that is going to be built inside the MacBook Pro. If I had spare change, I would love to have it. The better the computer, the longer it's going to last. And yeah, it has a support system where anything is possible. But I don't need that. So slash $1,000 off the budget. I don't need a $2,000-3,000 MacBook Pro. Now, looking at an iPad, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum, I do have a Samsung mobile phone and an iPhone. With the Samsung for my S20 Ultra, I use DeX, especially when this one needs to go into repair, because I do a lot of hard, I guess, programs and everything on my work laptop to be able to fulfill my workload on a day-to-day basis. So the DeX has come in real handy whenever I want to use a window-based Microsoft Office program. With the iPad and the iPad Pro, there isn't any apps to support Samsung DeX, and I like DeX a lot. It's like having another computer in the palm of your hand. So if I can't use the iPad Pro or the iPad as a monitor, it was a no-go for me. It's a first world problem, but that was a huge kicker. Also, apparently when I went into the store and I asked a few questions to this amazing girl at JB Hi-Fi store, she did say that if I use an iPad or an iPad Pro, the quality does decrease naturally, similar to when you upload something onto Instagram or whatever. So for, I don't know if it was for both the Pro or just the iPad, but for certain things, certain media, it won't be at its fullest resolution. It'll reduce it. So that was something that's not a big deal for me, considering the platform and the content that I do produce. But it's probably something that I wouldn't mind having, and probably a good feature that I should look for in my new device. So they're the couple of things, but I love the Apple Pen, everything else about the iPad, the looks, the way it functions, the hardware itself, I absolutely love. I just can't justify it in my life. It'll be a secondary device, if anything, and I don't want a secondary device, so sorry. Then I looked at the Tab S7 and the S7 Plus. The main difference between those two, from what I could see from a very below amateur level, is the resolution on the screen. So the main difference between the Tab S7 and the Tab S7 Plus that mattered to me personally is the display resolution. The Samsung Tab S7 has an LCD screen, and the S Plus has a more superior AMOLED screen, so the picture is going to be a little bit brighter and a little bit clearer. For me, I feel like the S Plus was comparable with the iPad with all the other features. Like, I actually did like it more than the iPad Pro. Like, I was absolutely floored. Like, it was amazing. It could do Samsung DeX and stuff, but for the price point, especially if I get the keyboard, that would increase the price significantly. And at the end of the day, although I love the pen, the compactability and everything, for the same price, or only $100 or $200 difference, I would rather pay for the MacBook Air with the M1 chip. Now, the new MacBook Air, I looked at a few reviews and they were just opinions, not facts, I believe. Everybody has their own, I guess, thoughts and way that they have internal biases to a certain product. But it was quite a unanimous feedback. They all done similar testing and everything, stuff that I don't understand. But battery life, wow, significantly different, especially if you're using a hard program like Final Cut Pro, which I won't use, but it is the fastest, quicker way to see how long the battery and the internal fan can last. Because like I said, this one, the fan is going like crazy. It is dying. dying. It is not coping at all. Like, my poor baby. It's 8 years old. It's done good. It's done so good. That is super important to me because that would be the distinct reason, my main core reason on why I'm changing from this MacBook Pro to a new device. The battery and the fan, it's just what it needs to retire. That's what it needs to do. I thought about changing the battery and stuff, but I don't trust anybody to do it. And I don't think it'll be worth the cost here in Sydney. So, new device it is. The second part is obviously everything else. It all ticks the boxes. The memory's fine. I could always add an external hard drive. It's an all-in-one device. Yes, it isn't a touch screen. They're super behind for that, but they are behind in a lot of technologies on mobile phones, which I'm sure they'll catch up in a huge bang. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, who knows. But the display is amazing. The sound is much better than my current one. Obviously, 8 years worth of technology differences is going to be prominent. But yeah, for the price point, my two choices is a Tab S7 Plus by Samsung or a MacBook Air 2020 with the M1 chip, not the Intel chip. Even the i5, there was a huge difference between this year's 2020 Intel chip versus a MacBook Air 2020 M1 chip that just came out. Honestly, do your research. This is my opinions and my shallow research that I've done. Shallow research. I am not a tech guru, but I do look in enough and try to understand as much as possible and balance the pros and cons with the cost of the device. And I think I'm going to go with the MacBook Air M1 chip. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me your opinions down below. Tell me your insight. If you are in the tech world, any advice will help. I want to be able to use iMovie, Samsung DeX, pretty pictures, pretty bright, clear pictures, because my eyesight, I have astigmatism in both eyes at different levels, so anything that would help. I even have glasses that is like blue screen protected, so better quality display, the better it will be for my life and my eyes. Yeah, please tell me, please help me, and also smash the like button. I'll see you next time, and bye bye.